Hi and welcome. I'm István and I'm thrilled to start our multi-device showroom event by sharing with you that we have reached a significant milestone with the development of Shaper 3D on Windows. It's now not only out of the early access phase and fully available to everyone, also it will remain at complete feature parity with iPadOS and macOS. Along with our visualization feature, Space Mouse support, and the long list of other improvements that are available on the Windows platform, you will have the freedom to work with full functionality across Windows PCs and tablets, Macs, and iPads. So Shaper 3D works for you where and how you want. And of course, you can use Shaper 3D across all of these platforms with a single subscription. Until now, CAD has dictated where and how you design or iterate, but it's clear that things don't work well like that anymore. For one thing, legacy CAD doesn't allow you to seamlessly access and edit your designs across your devices. Switching between your devices works like it did 20 years ago. Exporting, importing, often emailing files to yourself, and sometimes losing track of the latest version of your design in the process. Another thing is that you can't take your workstation with you, not just because they might be physically hard to move, but often because your shop is not an ideal environment for your computer. CPU fans are not big fans of dust. And sharing designs and collaborating with clients still works like it did in the 1990s, often by sending 2D screenshots in a PowerPoint document in email. These are just a few of the issues we have worked to solve, because we strongly believe that in 2022, CAD should do better. After all, the software industry has evolved a lot, and you should not be left behind. We are here to disrupt the industry and define the future of design and manufacturing software. To do this, Shaper 3D spends time looking at how the world has changed in the last 30 years, and we are obsessed about understanding how you design. Now let's talk to Peter to see how Shaper 3D is helping you design how you want. With a seamless multi-device experience, you can create the best designs possible that get approvals and finish products faster. Plus, we have a little surprise for you that you've been asking about.
Hi, I'm Peter. I work on Shaper 3D's modeling capabilities. With the help of 3 Shaper 3D users, Enrique, Carl, and Austin, and my colleague Seb, we are going to show you how our multi-device functionality, Shaper 3D Sync, and other feature improvements have opened your options to work the way you want to work. When you prefer the intuitive and frictionless touch and pen experience, you can use Shaper 3D on a tablet. But when you need a bigger screen and more horsepower, you can switch to a desktop computer completely effortlessly. For most of us, a well-configured desktop workstation is a crucial part of everyday work. First of all, the company network might only be accessible from your desktop computer. But also, all of us need crucial applications that are only available on desktop platforms. You might need to pull designs from other CAD applications like SolidWorks, or reference sketches from apps like Illustrator. Or you might want to use a ray tracer like Adobe Substance Stager. With Shaper 3D available on the same platforms, It is as easy as dragging designs over between apps. Or on the manufacturing side, you need your CAM software or the slicer for 3D printing, and it is rare to have any of these available on anything but a Windows PC. Or sometimes it is just more comfortable to sit at a well-configured desktop workstation set up just the way you like it. With Shaper 3D available on Windows PCs and tablets, Macs and iPads, you can decide which device and input method you want to use. You could go for touch and pen, keyboard and mouse, or even use a space mouse or a Wacom pen tablet. You can leverage the benefits of a desktop workstation and have the freedom and liberty that designing on a tablet gives you. To learn more, I'd like to introduce you to Enrique. He runs his own business, Enrique Ojea Design Studio. He's going to show us how working with multiple devices not only made him more effective by getting to that final version of the design in less time, but also helped him maximize his creativity.
Para mí ser diseñador industrial es como tener muchos retos en el día a día, ¿no? Es muy diferente hacer un cargador para coches eléctricos o hacer un mobiliario urbano, y entonces es como coger toda esa información, pues información técnica de cada sector o información de cómo se va a producir esos objetos, ponerlo todo junto para poder conceptualizar. Nunca te aburres siendo diseñador industrial. El SHART 3D lo empecé a incorporar haciendo los planos técnicos, porque los clientes de proyectos de diseño industrial me los pedían, y era algo que no estaba acostumbrado. Siempre enviaba el 3D y lo fabricaban con control numérico. Y para mí era un problema, porque usaba programas muy complejos, pero que no tenían esa facilidad de poder hacer de una forma muy intuitiva y rápida los planos constructivos. Para mí es como se introdujo SHART 3D en el flujo de trabajo. Para mí, bueno, lo más importante son 3 dispositivos de entrada. Uno es el papel, que es donde empiezas a crear las primeras líneas, pero a nivel dispositivo informático, digamos, el iPad lo utilizo para hacer los primeros volúmenes rápidos. Una vez que tengas ese primer brainstorming o esos primeros volúmenes iniciales, me gusta llevarlos al ordenador y trabajarlo en el ordenador, donde vas a estar más tiempo trabajando, con lo cual ergonómicamente el dolor de espalda va a ser un poquito menor que utilizando otra postura diferente con el iPad. Y aparte el ordenador te permite tener 2 pantallas y poder tener moodboard o esos primeros brainstorming y poder desarrollar el 3D sin perder de vista esos aspectos iniciales que siempre son más frescos, ¿no? Que directamente hacer un 3D sin tener ese moodboard o esos bocetos presentes.
Yes, there are indeed days when you need that well-configured workstation and that fancy chair to make sure your back is not killing you by the end of the day. Luckily, Shaper 3D also has your back there. And well, wherever you need it. The design process should not be tied to your desk. Inspiration can strike anytime, and you don't want to wait until you get back to the office. Or you could be meeting clients and need to make modifications on the spot to get to the design that gets approved. With Shaper 3D, your tablet is not a secondary device, rather a full-blown professional design tool that just happens to be portable. To see more, let's get back to Enrique.
Para mí es importante el poder utilizar el iPad y llevártelo contigo a cualquier sitio donde se te pueda ocurrir cualquier idea en cualquier momento y poder empezar a hacer como unos volúmenes básicos sin perder mucho tiempo y dejar de un lado lo que estás haciendo. Pues a veces se te ocurren ideas fuera de la oficina. cuando no estás delante del ordenador o no estás delante de hasta ahora un dispositivo que era fácil de llevar, ¿no? Y antiguamente se usaba el bloc de notas para poder dibujar o bocetar, pero hoy en día con el iPad enseguida puedes hacer como 2 o 3 volúmenes rápidos para poder acordarte bien de esa idea y llevártelo a la oficina y acabar de desarrollarlo en el ordenador. Otro punto es la realidad aumentada y el poder hacer varios volúmenes y simplemente con el iPad poder visualizarlos y ver las proporciones de distintas alternativas de diseño, y para mí eso es súper útil. Y también la interacción a la hora de poder utilizar el iPad y poder ir a ver a un cliente o ir a ver a un proveedor y no tener que depender siempre de un material pesado, sino llevar un iPad y poder tener el 3D en ese iPad. Para mí eso es súper importante, el ser 3D.
Shaper 3D gives you the right tool for every step of your workflow. It adapts to how you want to share the story of your design. With our multi-device capabilities, you get more than one way to get your designs approved. To learn more about how we made our multi-device functionality completely seamless, meet my colleague Seb.
Hey, I'm Seb. Our new Shaper 3D Sync feature, built on the new Shaper 3D Cloud, it's the magic that enables seamless multi-device workflows. How do you design? Many of you told us that you switch from one device to another while designing, and how important it is for your designs to follow you. You want the option to do things like import a model on your desktop, but then immediately open it up on your tablet and work from there, knowing that all your work is being automatically backed up. That said, we know that some of you just don't want to or aren't permitted to work in a cloud system. With all this in mind, we developed Shaper 3D Sync. Shaper 3D Sync is a way to safely manage your designs without having to go through the effort of importing or exporting them from one device to another if you don't want to. Shaper 3D still runs locally on your devices, so you get the same nimble performance that you know and expect with us. Shaper 3D will save the latest version of your designs to the Shaper 3D Cloud, but only after it saves a copy to your device first, so you can work on your designs even if you're not online. Shaper 3D Cloud follows industry standards for safety and security, so you can be sure that your designs are safe, just like they are with Dropbox and Apple iCloud. But it's entirely your choice to use or not, opt in or opt out of Shaper 3D Sync anytime you want. You will always be in control of your data. Now, I'd like to introduce you to Carl. Carl is an independent woodworker. Today, he's going to show us how Shaper 3D Sync helps him fully utilize both his iPad and his desktop. Carl can quickly design wonderful pieces of furniture on his iPad and then open them up on his desktop to prepare the design for CNC milling.
My name is Carl Ekdahl. I'm a furniture designer originally from Sweden, but now based in Cornwall in the southwest corner of the United Kingdom. I do bespoke furniture to commission, as well as limited run small batches of my own designs. I have used Shaper 3D as my main CAD platform for about 3 years now. One of the reasons I was looking at different CAD packages was because I've added a CNC router, a handheld CNC router to my arsenal of tools. And I knew that it was probably going to be beneficial to increase the use of CAD in my workflow. One of the first realizations compared to my older software, Shaper 3D, was less of generating tons and tons of drawings and then carefully extrude bodies when you knew exactly where you're going. Something which meant that it was really quite hard to change and update the model if it developed. Now suddenly I found myself, I was sketching in 3D almost, and then generating the drawings once I knew where I wanted to be. And that meant that the models kind of lived and developed with me throughout the process of designing and prototyping. Another fantastic thing I think with the iPad is that for me, working in Shaper 3D with a pencil and my hands on the screen is almost like having two mouse pointers in your CAD software, and I find myself working a lot faster than I would on a traditional desktop piece of software. But when they released the desktop version of it, or the Mac version, there are certain things that a computer is really good at. Whether that be exchange with other software that might not be available on the iPad, or having a numeric keypad on the keyboard to put in a lot of numbers on very complex drawings. So thanks to the combination of the multi-platform solution that I have now, combined with a beta of sync, the ability to that files sync seamlessly between my iPad and my computer, means that I can work at a device that suits the task at hand the best. But there are some things that the traditional computer, desktop, whatever you want to call it, is great at. One of them, of course, being the bigger screen real estate, which is a great thing if you work on big, complex models. Also, there's, of course, a better exchange with other software that might not be as good or even exist on the iPad, and that's much easier done on the desktop. So for Shaper 3D and now being multi-platform, I think the flow is so much better now thanks to the sync functionality, knowing that my designs are updated across both devices. That combined with a commonality interface makes it really quite seamless for me to jump between the two platforms as and when I need it. To generalize, I find myself doing most of the creative work, the design work on the iPad, and then move over to the desktop when it comes to more revisions and detailed updates or tweaks to existing designs. Since changing over to Shaper 3D, really, not only has my processes got more accurate, my CAD work, frankly, more enjoyable, but it's also allowed me to go in directions that I probably wouldn't have gone into before, and make things that I might not have made.
Carl definitely makes the most of Shaper 3D Sync, using multiple devices to work on his designs exactly where and how he wants. Now, while Shaper 3D Sync is the magical link for full multi-device support, what about when it's time to present your work? We invited Austin to show us. Austin is the lead concept designer at BrandMotion. His sheer enthusiasm for his work motivates us to make Shaper 3D the best tool it can be to help him build his business. We'll look at how being able to work across multiple devices is valuable in Austin's work. But we'll also look at how our improved augmented reality feature supports his workflow beautifully. See for yourself how Shaper 3D works for Austin.
At BrandMotion, it's a small company, so we have the ability to do vastly different projects. We get to do everything from consumer products that revolve around safety, as well as more recently, we're getting into engineering services, which allows us to make really unique concept vehicles that also need to be on a very accelerated schedule. So this means that in and out, we're getting to do different work on multiple vehicles, everything from like three-wheeled electric vehicles to autonomous sleds. Really just the ability to wear different hats and not get stuck doing the same thing over and over again. Our company is very mobile, which means that we don't do all of our work in the office. Sometimes we go off-site where our desktop computers and laptops and stuff, they're not able to come with us. So I was very interested in finding a software that was optimized and portable for a tablet. Looking into Shaper, that gave us all of the CAD tools that we needed in a platform that was hypermobile, very, very stable, and I guess above all else, quick. But there are some CAD geometries that we receive that are a bit too much for the iPad to handle. So when that happens, we transfer the data over to the desktop computers, and we're able to use the horsepower of those computers to process the CAD in a much more efficient way. Additionally, too, some of our team members who don't have iPads, we're able to include them in the development process with the desktop applications that are PC-based. So they're able to experience all of the intuitive commands and workflows of Shaper, but on their PC platform. Just the fact that Shaper can be on multiple devices gives us the ability to contextually choose which device will be best. One of the really unique features of Shaper 3D is how well it is built for augmented reality. The way AR is helping us grow our business is we are really able to lean into this new and exciting virtual reality, augmented reality space. And when we show them that we're actually able to take their vehicle that they brought to us in the CAD and just literally pick up and put a dashboard into this vehicle, and that they're able to sit in it and have photos taken of themselves for scale, it really just makes that process all the more realistic. So there's that first kind of shock of, oh, this is new, this is AR, but the way we're able to utilize it by seamlessly bringing it into our workflow, it quickly just disappears, and then we're able to use AR as a tool rather than a neat party trick.
Our multi-device options help Austin effortlessly share his work, as they do with Enrique and Carl. But let's switch gears and focus on how our improved augmented reality feature scores points. Models in AR now come with the rich textures you have in Shaper 3D visualization, so they'll look far more lifelike. With our AR feature, just like Austin does, you'll be able to see your designs as they'll appear in the real world. Virtually look at your bottle design on the retail shelf to figure out, will it stand out? Or virtually see your carefully crafted wooden chair in the room it was intended for. It's all possible now. And with the upcoming Shaper 3D Web Viewer feature, sharing a model design with your team or clients is as simple as sharing a link. Web Viewer? What's that, you might ask? Yes, Shaper 3D Web Viewer is the little surprise Istvan mentioned earlier. Let's take a closer look.
El Web Viewer es un cambio a la hora de tratar o comunicar con el cliente. Antiguamente dependías de qué software o de qué hardware tuviera el cliente, y hoy en día simplemente mandando un link y en un visualizador, incluso en un teléfono móvil, puede ver esa propuesta o esas alternativas que le estás enviando.
What I love about the Web Viewer is that it is portable. Anybody can have access to it, if you permit them to, but they don't need to have an existing CAD software to open it up. So it just makes it that much simpler to send it out for review and feedback. So Web Viewer helps us a lot with our work when we need to share CAD with clients that either don't have access to CAD, that don't really deal with CAD. So this could be like project managers or design team leads that just need a quick preview of what it will look like. So rather than sending them this large CAD file and requiring them to export it and to import it, we just send them a link. In this way, they're able to see live, accurate data of the content that we have uploaded to the Web Viewer in a way that allows them to either pass it on to people who else need to see it, and it just makes the process of sharing that data all the more intuitive.
And whilst I think the benefits of being able to communicate with customers through it is quite obvious, I also find that I'm really intrigued by the prospect of using it when I'm dealing with, say, a metalwork, a fabrication, if I create custom hardware for one of my designs, to really allow that person to see how I expect the finished product to look, but also how it sits within the wider design.
The Shaper 3D Web Viewer enables you to share your designs with anyone, to view them on any device, using any modern browser. Share the link, and without installing any special software, and from anywhere in the world, on any device, including on their phone, your stakeholders can get a full view of your design. Plus, on most modern iOS and Android phones and tablets, your stakeholders can even view your models in all their glory with rich textures and colors in augmented reality. Now let's get back to Istvan to wrap things up. Listen to get more info on next steps and find out how you can try out the Shaper 3D web viewer.
So how do you design? With Shaper 3D, you're the one to decide that, not your CAD software or tools. Just as we are continuing to improve our visualization feature that we talked about in our first showroom event, we are continuing to make sure that you have the smooth, stable design workflow you want and expect all on the devices you prefer: Windows PCs and tablets, Macs, and iPads. All with the full power of Shaper 3D on each device, seamlessly connected by Shaper 3D Sync, and all with a single subscription. And heads up, we have a lot of exciting and useful features other than Shaper 3D Sync coming as part of Shaper 3D Cloud. We are developing collaboration tools that will help you share your designs to easily get feedback from stakeholders and to work together with your colleagues in a way that will feel like we have catapulted you into the future from the CAD of 30 years ago. And now, before we wrap up today's event, we hope you liked our sweet sneak peek of the little surprise you've been asking about, the Shaper 3D web viewer. Sev talked about it, so you know some key details, and today we invite you to register for our early adopter program to be among the first to use it. The program will begin in 2 weeks. Find the link to register in the description below. Thanks to all of you for being part of our second Shaper 3D showroom event. See you at the next one.